Hi, to you all viewers of Equinoxe television. Barakah Salah to all our Muslim televiewers out there. Now our magistrates, Muslim faithful across the globe, are today celebrating the feast of the Ramadan. It comes after they successfully observed the 40-day period of fasting and prayers to Allah. How are the Muslims celebrating the feast of the Ramadan? We bring to you echoes from Douala, Kumba, Mutengene and elsewhere in this edition of the news. And the President of the National Episcopal Conference who doubles as the Archbishop of the Bamenda Archdiocese, His Grace Andrew Nkea, calls on Cameroonians to register massively on the electoral registers if they must get the change they so much desire in Cameroon. He was speaking during the ongoing National Episcopal Conference taking place in the nation's fiscal capital, Yaoundé. Viewers, those are our major stories. Details when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. We just told you in the headlines that Muslim faithful across the world today are celebrating the feast of the Ramadan after they successfully fasted and prayed for about 30 days. The Muslim faithful have been exhorted to uphold righteousness, live in harmony with every other citizen as a way to foster peace in Cameroon, converging on a Kambeto prayer ground in Douala today to start the celebration of the feast of the Ramadan. The principal imam also enjoined them to get their names on electoral registers to change Cameroon voting of good leaders. Let's now have more with Innocent Azer, who was at the Kambeto prayer ground today.
Living together as one, foster social cohesion and love one another constitute the principal message addressed to the Muslim faithful who gathered at the Kambeto prayer ground in Douala to begin celebration of the feast of Ramadan. This will ensure no one is regarded as a social misfit or treated as an outcast in the society. Muslim faithful were also taught to abstain from immorality, be peace promoters and lovers of education. Righteousness is the right path to choose.
A message that we should continue to share, not only sharing gifts, but share love amongst us, so that the peace should continue in Islam and everywhere in Cameroon.
As a young Muslim, you have to be educated, because nowadays Muslims are seen like people who are premature or not civilized at all. So we have to clear our image by going to school, being educated, doing good at school. Another
major message passed on to Muslims is political: to massively get on the electoral register. A Muslim is supposed to be the first person to get on the electoral register. That is why at the level of the mosque, we school them on the need to exercise this civic duty, which is the true way to gain peace, and the rest if the right leaders are democratically chosen with aids of their votes. Administrative authorities have been implored to give value to religion and to handle religious matters tabled to them with impartiality.
And still on the feast of the Ramadan, peace was a take-home message as Muslim faithful in Kumba, Iseka and Banga celebrated the feast of Eid al-Fitr, which marks the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Youths were encouraged to keep praying for the economic, social and political crisis in the country, Cameroon. Malak Glory reports on the feast of the Ramadan in Kumba, Iseka and in Banga.
Hundreds of Muslim faithfuls coming from far and near gathered at the Kumba Amusement Park in the southwest region for the feast of the Ramadan. The message of the day was for the faithfuls to pray for peace and to respect state institutions.
Our message today is peace. We stand in peace. Why? Because if you look at our region today, we are happy that the peace is coming up gradually.
that was in the presence of government officials, among which was the city mayor of Kumba, Gregory Mewanu, who praised the unity of the Muslim community, and also the senior divisional officer for Meme Division, Tundong Chamberlain, who emphasized on the peace message.
Myself, I try to reiterate to advise them to live in peace, for people to be hardworking, and to be sure that all of us are living together in peace.
Away from the southwest region, the feast of the Ramadan in the central region is Zika, centered around economic crisis plaguing the country, the high level of unemployment, and the promotion of peace in Cameroon. The prayer was done by a young Muslim at the central mosque of Ezeka. We are praying for God to favor those youths still searching for jobs. We also pray for peace in Cameroon and for the victims of the railway catastrophe that occurred some years back in Ezeka. We pray that may the souls of those who lost their lives in the accident rest in peace. While in Banga, Mongo division of the littoral region, Muslim faithfuls were encouraged to continue with their prayers even after this 1 month of fasting. Muslims celebrate the feast of Eid al-Fitr, which marks the end of the holy month of Ramadan, and this year it is celebrated under the theme Education and Purification.
And over to Mutengene in the southwest region of the country, they celebrated also the feast of the Ramadan despite the context of insecurity in the northwest and southwest. And the chief of the Muslim community in Mutengene used the opportunity of his visit to pray for Allah for a return of peace to the northwest and southwest regions. Let's now go to Mutengene with our reporter Cedric Chakutiu.
The Muslim community in the southwest region, precisely in Mutengene, came out massively to celebrate the feast of the Ramadan, which marks the end of the 30-day fasting period. At the Mutengene prayer ground, the prayer session was presided over by the Imam of the Mutengene Central Mosque, Shitu Buba, who called on the faithful present to always put peace at the center of their prayers.
Yeah, my message is that let us love each and other. Let us bring peace. Let us bring peace within our community. That unity, that love in the community.
The chief of the Muslim community in Mutengene, Alhaji Suleimanu Hassani Iya, who is just from Mecca, says the crisis in the northwest and southwest region was their major prayer points.
The objective to go in there is to pray for our nation, to pray for the head of state, and also for pray for the two regions, the northwest and southwest, for Allah to bring peace to the two regions.
Just like in other parts of the country, the Muslims in Mutengene came together to pray for Allah to send blessings on His people in difficult moments.
And still religion, this time around we talk Christianity. The president of the National Episcopal Conference, who doubles as the Archbishop for the Bamenda Archdiocese, His Grace Andrew Kia, has called on Cameroonians to register massively on the electoral registers if they must get the change they so much desire in the country. He was speaking during the ongoing National Episcopal Conference in Yaoundé. Let's now have more with our reporter for me, Anton Sanda.
Periods of socio-economic, cultural and developmental challenges faced by the Cameroonian people have always been presented as the failure of political leaders, intended or unintended. Elections being an opportunity for the masses to maintain or sanction political leaders based on their performances, the Archbishop of Bamenda, President of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon, His Grace Andrew Kia, urges Cameroonians to take action ahead of 2025.
Next year, 2025, na year where they go vote big man, for put big man again for chair, or for vote new big man. That one will be so.
Next year, 2025, we'll be electing our president. We are calling on all Cameroonians to register and vote. Do not only be complaining, but go and vote.
And you vote.
Speaking at the end of the 49th Plenary Assembly of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon, the bishop frowned against injustice and discrimination vis-à-vis the national cake. No Cameroonian is above another. A Cameroonian is a Cameroonian, whether from the north, south, east,
or West. Therefore, those controlling the resources of the nation should use it for the common good of all Cameroonians.
Make all man if he benefit for this use.
On behalf of the bishops of Cameroon, he outlined other ills plaguing the nation. Those using social media, that is Facebook, WhatsApp and TikTok, have been promoting lies, hate. So social media should be used to spread the truth, not lies and hatred.
They don't make people they hate one another.
The man of God ended by reiterating the stance and the position of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon against the blessing of same-sex marriage.
Now let's come back to this shocking incident which happened in the nation's political capital Yaoundé. That was yesterday. Preliminary investigations in connection to the death of journalist Louisette Betek Yebel has led to the arrest of her son Betek Yebel Landry. The shocking development comes few days after the discovery of her dismembered corpse or mutilated corpse packed in two boxes at the Lik Ezoa neighborhood in Yaoundé. Security forces say the prime suspect admitted to killing his own mother. Immaculate Fogri with the details.
It is in the stream located in the Lik Ezoa neighborhood in Yaoundé that the dismembered corpse of civil Louisette Ngo Yebel was discovered. While going to fetch water, the man saw two boxes close to the stream. So, wondering what was in it, he opened it and discovered her corpse. The corpse was divided into two parts. The discovery was made few meters away from the victim's family residence. Preliminary investigations in connection to the death of journalist Louisette Bateke Yebel has led to the arrest of her son Landry Bateke Yebel. Security sources say the prime suspect confessed of having suffocated his mother to death before using an engine saw to chop her body into pieces. With the aid of his friend, the boxes were transported to a nearby stream. Visiting the home of Landry Bateke Yebel in the Damas neighborhood, his neighbors confessed of his addiction to hard drugs. The graduate from the National School of Administration and Magistracy also confessed of having a hand in the death of his grandmother 5 months ago. The motives why he carried out the act is still unknown. Meantime, Landry Bateke is currently behind bars at the Yaoundé 1 Gendarmerie Brigade.
And now we talk something else. We take you to the North region. 200 tons of cotton have been consumed by a wildfire outbreak at the Cameroon Cotton Development Company, Sodecotton, in the North region, precisely in Gara. The huge fire occurred on the 9th of April 2024, though the origin is still to be made public, and the fire comes to worsen the already challenging situation faced by Sodecotton. Let's now have more with Lucy Diengo is here.
The wildfire, which broke out in the Cameroon Cotton Development Company, consumed 200 tons of cotton. According to Lieutenant Colonel Patrin Jaoyang, commander of the 40th National Fire Brigade Group in the Far North region, the fire incident that occurred in the early hours of April 9, 2024 spread through 3 silos of 500 tons of cotton, making it difficult for the firefighting brigade to contain the flames.
En fait, un tas fait environ 500 tonnes de coton et c'est 3 tas qui sont en feu sur 10. Nous nous sommes jetés dans la bataille.
However, it was only after a long period of fierce fighting that the flames were brought under control.
Faisant le tri, on récupère une bonne quantité selon les responsables.
Informed about the incident, the governor of the region, Midiyawa Bakari, descended on the scene to encourage and strategize ways with the firefighters to extinguish the flames. The general manager of Sodecotton, in a press release, officially confirms the fire incident, and the company assures the public that investigations are underway to determine the actual cause of the fire outbreak in the days ahead.
And 45 marine officers have taken the oath to protect marine waters from all forms of security threats and enforce laws and regulations of the land. Immaculate Fogwe, in her report, which comes up next, outlines some of the threats to maritime security and how these marine officers will possibly handle them.
Piracy, illicit trafficking and illegal fishing are some of the major threats to maritime security in Cameroon, a situation which has significantly impacted the country's economic growth. In order to effectively tackle these threats, 4 to 5 officers have been empowered with maritime security skills. After taking an oath before the judge of the Douala Military Court,
I, Navy Captain Hilary Adequenti, judicial police officer, swear that I will discharge my duties with dignity, loyalty, probity, and humanity, and that I will comply with the laws and regulations of the Republic.
Dans sa vision, le contre-amiral chef d'état-major de la marine, et ce, en collaboration avec la direction de la justice militaire, a pris des dispositions pour l'implémentation du décret numéro 222/017 du 27 décembre 2022 portant sur la répression de la piraterie, terrorisme et des atteintes contre la sécurité de la navigation maritime et des plateformes.
The 2 weeks training is expected to help them repress the perpetrators of terrorism, piracy, and all those who have been undermining maritime security.
Les objectifs.
Our objective is to fight threats to maritime security. We are quite convinced that the 2 weeks training will go a long way to protect our waters. They are up to the task, and we are convinced that they will carry out their duty well. The officers are expected to be dispatched to different localities like Ikondotiti, Kribi, Edea, Limbe, and Douala to safeguard our maritime waters.
Now we take you out of our national frontiers to Senegal first. The President of Senegal, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, has instructed the Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko to establish a plan of action to revive the country's economy. And over to South Africa, former President Jacob Zuma's candidacy for the general election in May has been restored. The ban on his candidacy has been lifted by the country's electoral court. Details of those stories and more with Babila Jonathan.
Senegal's new president, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, has ordered a comprehensive assessment of the economic and financial situation of the country. He has asked Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko to carry out this task in order to draw up an action plan by the end of April with a clear schedule for achieving the set objectives. The decision was taken at the first cabinet meeting of the new government, which was approved by President Diomaye Faye last Saturday. Last week, the oil, gas and mining sectors audit were announced by the president. He also urged investors to contribute to the development of the West African nation. Elsewhere on the African continent, the former president of South Africa, Jacob Zuma, is free to run in May's general election. South Africa's electoral court overturned a ban on his candidacy. Last month, the Electoral Commission barred him over a contempt of court conviction. It argued that the Constitution prevented people from holding public office if convicted of a crime and sentenced to more than 12 months in prison. 81-year-old Jacob Zuma has been campaigning for the Umkhonto we Siwe party. The former stalwart of the governing African National Congress, ANC, is a controversial figure who served as president from 2009 to 2018 when he had to step down because of corruption allegations. He was sentenced to 15 months in jail in 2021 for failing to testify in a corruption investigation. He served 3 months and was released on health grounds. South Africans will elect 400 members of the country's General Assembly on May 29. A month later, the lawmakers in the new parliament will choose the country's president.
And that does it for the first part of the news. Don't go away, viewers. Let's take talking point together. Welcome back, viewers. We are talking about the feast of the Ramadan today, and our guest tonight is Shitu Buba. He is the Imam of the Mutengene Central Mosque. Thank you so much for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. Now we want to find out from you, what is the significance of the feast of the Ramadan, and who are those who are rightfully supposed to celebrate the feast of the Ramadan?
the 5th of Ramadan is pointing the happiness of the Muslim community who fast for 1 month. The greatest moon where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring down the book of Holy Quran for the Ummah. So why that we fast the 29 or 30, Allah order us to gather out of town and the numbers to worship, to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that day. That's the signification of that day. Anybody can celebrate inside the world. Anybody. It's only prayer moment who concern only the Muslim Ummah. Everybody be free to celebrate.
And now we know that Muslims have been fasting and praying for about 29 or 30 days now. Fasting and praying for 30 days, especially dry fasting, should be a very difficult task. So to speak, how do Muslim faithful succeed to go through this period of 30 days fasting and praying?
Allah who guides us for succeeding is not our powers. It's Allah who guides us. We are succeeded because most of the Muslims are being used to for that issue, and everyone know that the fasting be composing for your own self, not concerning any other body. Be composing for any mature person, either man or woman, either chief or slave, either al-ulama, the people who be learned, who know about Islam, or the one who don't know about Islam. So as we Muslim be composing, so we are not facing the difficulty. The only difficulty where the Muslim Ummah facing for that month is not only for eat and drink, no. To keep yourself out of any involvement. Like for talk too much, for lie, for worshipping, and so on and so on, not be accepted. So the only difficulty that the Muslim Ummah facing. But if people let eat and drink, that is not be any difficulty for the Ummah because we are used to for that.
And now, is it possible you tell us the difference between the feast of the Ram and the feast of the Ramadan? What is the major difference?
Feast of Ramadan and the sacrifice of Ram. The feast of Ramadan concern the people who fast for the 1 month. The Muslim Ummah who fast for the 1 month. It shows the happiness. The Muslim can gather and present the happiness for that day. And the feast of Ram is also maintain the footstep of the Prophet Abraham who sacrificed his son. While the Muslim Ummah maintain that footstep, it be composed for any Muslim who be able. Muslim who be able. It's not handicapped. It's not who the man who not have the means to have the ram. No woman who no have the means to have the ram. Well, the woman can celebrate, sacrifice, if she have the means. Not be accepted or composing for under mature child. Be composing for a mature person, either man or woman, to maintain the footstep of the Father Abraham, who sacrificed his own son for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
And now we are sure going to be talking more some other time about the feast, maybe tomorrow. But let's take this last question. It's the period most people go to Mecca, that is before any Muslim feast. Why do pilgrimage to Mecca? Why the pilgrimage to Mecca most times before the feast of the Ramadan or the feast of the Ram? Why do you people usually go to Mecca before any official feast?
Before Ramadan is Umrah. It's not Hajj. But the pilgrimage of Hajj and the pilgrimage of Umrah. The Umrah should be inside the Ramadan or after the Ramadan or before Ramadan. But the pilgrimage of Hajj is only after the Ramadan, between Ramadan and 5th of Ram. Should go, the Muslims they should go there and follow the sacrifice the ram to the day where the Prophet Abraham sacrificed his own son, and for the very partition, the very place, called Mina in Mecca. They went there to gather to the Mount Arafah, the mountain that Adam and Eve they recognized themselves after hundreds of years. They went there to make tawaf, circle inside the holy mosque of Kaaba. They went there to visit the mosque of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the grave of the Holy Prophet. So it's the work that the Muslims doing the pilgrimage. before sacrifice of ram.
Imam Shitu Buba, thank you so much for your time. And viewers, thank you so much for being with us on Equinoxe Television tonight. Don't go where our programs continue. Equinoxe Soir comes up at 7 p.m. and then news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. Barakah Salah once again to all our Muslim televiewers out there. Bye-bye for now.